上午读了美丽英文 Beautiful English， 接下来我们阅读绿山墙的安妮 Anne of Green Gables。The station master was that. Guess there's some mistake, he said. Miss Spencer came off the train with that girl and gave her into my charge. Said you and your sister were adopting her from an Afghan asylum and that you would be along for her presently. That's more often considered helpless. I don't understand, said Matthew, helpless. Wishing that Marina was at hand to cope with the situation. Well, you'd better question the girl, said the station master carelessly. I dare say she'll be able to explain. She's got a tongue of her own, that's certain. Maybe they were out of boys of the band you wanted. He walked gently away, being hungry. And the unfortunate Matthew was left to do that which was harder for him than bathing a lion in its den. Wake up to a girl, a strange girl, an orphan girl, and damned of her why she wasn't a boy. Matthew groaned in strength as he turned about and shoved gently down the platform towards her. She had been watching him ever since he had asked her, and she had her eyes on him now. Matthew was not looking at her, and would not have seen what she was really like if he had been, but an originally observer would have seen this. A child of about 11, garbed in a very short, very tight, very ugly dress of yellowish grey rinses. She wore a folded gold sailor hat and pinched the hat expanding down her back, were two bands of very thick. Decidedly read her. Her face was small, white and thin, also much thicker. Her mouth was large and so were her eyes, which looked green in some lights and mood and grey in others. So far, the originally observer and extraordinary observer might have seen that the chin was very pointed, and pronounced that the big eyes were full of thread and vacancy, that the mask was spread left and expensive, that the forehead was bold and full. In short, or the ceiling extraordinary observer might have concluded that no commonplace shore inhabits the body of this story woman, child of whom Shine Matthew Canspat was so ludicrously afraid. Matthew, however, was spared the order ordeal of speaking first, for as soon as she concluded that he was coming to her, she stopped up, grasping with one thin brown hand the handle of a shabby, old-fashioned cambered bag. The other she held out to him. "I suppose you are Mr. Matthew Cuthbert of Green Gables," she said in a peculiarly clear, sweet voice. "I'm very glad to see you. I was beginning to be afraid you weren't coming for me, and I was imagining all the things that might have happened to prevent you. I had made up my mind that you didn't come for me tonight. I'd go down the track to that big wide cherry tree at the beach and climbing up into it to stay all night. I wouldn't be a bit afraid, and it would be lovely to sleep in a wide cherry tree, warm white with bloom in the moonshine. Do you think you could imagine you were traveling in Marble House, couldn't you? And I was quite sure you would come for me in the morning. If you didn't tonight, Matthew had taken the scullery little hand weakly in his. Then and then he decided what to do. He could not tell the child with the glowing eyes that there had been a mistake. He would take her home and let Marina do that. She couldn't be left at the night river anyhow, no matter what mistake had been made. So war corrections and explanations might as well be deferred until he was safely back at Green Gables. I'm sorry, "I'm sorry I was late," he said shyly. "Come along, the horse is over in the yard. Give me your bag." "Oh, I can carry it," the child responded, carefully. Isn't heavy. I've got all my worldly goods in it, but it isn't heavy, and if it isn't carried in just a certain way, to handle pulls out, so I'd better keep it because I know the exact knack of it. It's an extremely old carpet bag. Oh, I'm very glad you've come, even if it would have been nice to sleep in a wild cherry tree. We've got to dive a long piece, haven't we? Miss Spencer said at Miles. "I'm glad because I love driving. Oh, it seems so wonderful that I'm going to live with you and belong to you." I've never belonged to anybody, so not really, but the Islam was the worst. I've only been in it 4 months, but that was enough. I don't suppose you ever will uh, ever in Iceland, so you can't possibly understand what it is like. It's worse than anything you could imagine. Miss Spencer said it was wicked of me to talk like that, but I didn't mean to be wicked. It's so easy to be wicked without knowing it, isn't it? They were good, the Aslam people, but there is so little scope for the imagination in Aslam, only just in the other Earth's hands. It was pretty interesting to imagine things about them, to imagine that perhaps the girl who sat next to you was really the daughter of a belated earl who had been stolen away from her parents in her infancy by a career nurse who died before she could confuse. I used to lie awake at night and imagine things like that, because I didn't have time in the day. I guess that's why I'm so thin. I'm a dreadful thing, and there isn't a pick on my bones. I do love to imagine. I'm nice and plump with dumplings in my elbows. Thinking Java. The progress of abstraction. All programming languages provide abstractions. It can be argued that the complexity of the problems you are able to solve is directly related to the kind and quality of abstraction. By kind, I mean what is it that you are abstracting? Assembly language is a small abstraction of the underlying machine. Many so-called interactive languages that followed, such as Fortran, Basic, and C, were abstractions of assembly language. These languages are big improvements over assembly language, but their primary abstraction still requires you to think in terms of the structure of the computer rather than the structure of the problem you are trying to solve. The programmer must establish the association between the machine model in the solution space, which is the place where you are implementing that solution, such as a computer, and the mode of the problem that is actually being solved in the problem space, which is the place where the problem exists, such as a business. The effort required to perform this mapping and the fact that it is extracted to the programming language produce programs that are difficult to write and expensive to maintain, and as a side effect created the entire programming methods industry. The active To model the machine is to model the problem you are trying to solve. Early languages such as LISP and APL choosing particular views of the world. More problems are ultimately lists, or all problems are algorithmic, respectively broadcast all problems into chains of decisions. Languages have been created for constructed-based programming and for programming exclusively by manipulating graphical symbols. The latter proved to be too restrictive. Each of these approaches may be a good solution to the particular class of problems that are designed to solve. But when you slip outside of the domain, they become vague. The object-oriented approach goes a step further by providing tools for the programmer to represent elements in the problem space. This representation is general enough that the programmer is not constrained to any particular type of problem, we rather to the elements in the problem space and their representation in the solution space as objects. You will also need other objects that don't have problem space along nodes. The idea is that the program is allowed to adapt itself to the lingo of the problem by adding new types of objects. So, when you read the code descriptions, the solution, you are reading words that also explains the problem. This is more flexible and a powerful language abstraction than what we've had before. Thus, OOP allows you to describe the problem in terms of the problem, rather than in terms of the computer where the solution will run. There's still a connection back to the computer. Each object looks quite a bit like a little computer. It has a state and it has o- options that you can ask it to perform. However, this doesn't seem like such a bad analogy to objects in the real world. They all have characteristics and behaviors. Alan he summarized the five basic characters of Smalltalk, the first successful object-oriented language and one of the languages upon which Java is based. These characteristics represent a pure approach to object-oriented programming. One, everything is an object. Think of an object as a fancy variable. It stores data, but you can make requirements to that object. Any conceptual component in the problem you are trying to solve. Dogs, buildings, services, etc., and represent it as an object in your program. 2. A program is a bunch of objects telling each other what to do by sending messages. To make a request of an object, you send a message to that object. More concretely, you can think of a message as a request to call a method that belongs to a particular object. Each object has its own memory made up of other objects. Put another way, you create a new kind of object by making a package containing external objects. Thus you can build complexity into a program while hiding it behind the simplicity of objects. Every object has a type. Using the parlance, each object is an instance of a class. In which class is synonymous with type, the most important distinguished characteristic of a class is what message can you send to it. All objects of a particular type can receive the same messages. This is actually a loaded statement, as you will see later, because an object of type critical is also an object of type shape. A critical is granted to accept shape messages. This means you can write code that talks to shapes and automatically handle anything that fits the description of a shape. This subtraction is one of the power concepts in OOP. Both offers an even more decision of an object. An object has state, behavior, and identity. This means that an object can have internal data which gives it a state, methods to produce behavior, and each object can be uniquely distinguished from every other object. To put this in a concept sense, each object has a unique address in memory. 下一本后端编程技术 Spring Microservices in Action 1.2. What is Spring and why is it relevant to microservices? Spring has become the fact development framework for building Java-based applications. At its core, Spring is based on the concept of the dependency injection. In a normal Java application, the application is decomposed into classes, where each class often has explicit linkages to other classes in the application. These linkages are the invocation of a class constructor directly in the code. Once the code is compiled, this linkage points can't be changed. This is problematic is a large project because these extra linkages are brittle and making a change can result in multiple downstream impacts to other code. A dependency injection framework, such as Spring, allows you to more easily manage large Java projects by extra notations rather than those objects having hard code. Spring acts as an intermediary between the different Java classes of your application and managing their dependencies. Spring essentially lets you assemble your code together like a set of Lego bricks that slap together. Spring's inclusion of feature drop its utility, and the framework quickly became a lighter weight alternative for enterprise application. Java developers looking for a way to building application use the J2EE stack. The J2EE stack, while powerful, was considered by many to be boldware with many features that were never used by application development teams. Further, a J2EE application forced you to use a full, belonged and heavy Java application server to deploy your applications. What's amazing about the Spring Framework and testament to its deployment community is its ability to stay relevant and reinvent itself. The Spring development team quickly development team were moving away from monolithic patched together and deployed as a single artifact. Instead, teams were moving to highly distributed mode where services being built as small, distributed services that could be easily deployed to the cloud. In response to this shift, the Spring development team launched two projects, Spring Boot and Spring Cloud. Spring Boot is a reinvention of the Spring framework, while it embraces core features of Spring. Spring Boot scrapes away many of the enterprise features found in Spring, and instead delivers a framework geared toward Java-based REST-oriented representational state transfer microservices. With a few simple annotations, a Java developer can quickly build a REST microservices that can be packaged and deployed without the need for an external application container. Note: while we cover REST in more detail in Chapter 2, the core concept behind REST is that your services should embrace the use of the HTTP verbs get, post, put, and delete to represent the core actions of the services and use night web-oriented data serialization protocol such as JS for requiring and receiving data from the services. Because microservices have become one of the more common architectural patterns for building cloud-based applications, the Spring development communication has given us Spring Cloud. The Spring Cloud framework makes it simple to orientation and cloud manage microservices framework under a common framework and makes the use and deployment of these technologies as easy to use as annotation your code. I cover the different components within Spring Cloud later in this chapter. Okay, let's read a little bit. Bible. The Bible, Genesis chapter 7. And the Lord said unto Noah, Come through and all shall house into the ark, for there have I sent righteous before me in this generation. Of every clean beast thou shalt take to this by sevens, the male and his female, and of beasts that are not clean by two, the male and his female, of fowls also of the air by sevens, the male and the female, to keep said alive upon the face of all the earth. For yet 7 days, and I will cause it to rain upon the earth 40 days and 40 nights. And every living substance that I have made will I destroy from off the face of the earth. And Noah did according unto all that the Lord commanded him. And Noah was 600 years old when the flood of the waters was upon the earth. And Noah went in, and his sons, and his wives, and his sons' wives, and with him, into the ark, because of the waters of the flood, of clean beasts, and of beasts that are not clean, and of fowls, and of everything that creeps upon the earth. They went in two and two upon Noah into the ark, the male and the female, as God had commanded Noah. And it came to pass after 7 days that the waters of the flood were upon the earth in the 600th year of Noah's life. In the 6th month, the 17th day of the month, the same day were all the fountains of the great deep broken up, and the windows of heaven were opened, and the rain was upon the earth 40 days and 40 nights. In the selfsame day entered Noah and Shem and Ham and Japheth, the sons of Noah, and Noah's wife, and their wives of his sons, and with him them into the ark, thee and every beast after his kind, and all the cattle after their kind, and every creeping thing that creeps upon the earth after his kind, and every fowl after his kind, every bird of every sort. And they went into upon Noah into the ark, two and two of all flesh, wherein is the beef of life. And they that went in male and female of all flesh, as God had commanded him. And the Lord shut him in, and the flood was 40 days upon the earth, and the waters increased and bare up the ark, and it was left up above the earth. And the waters prevailed and were increased greatly upon the earth, and the ark went upon the face of the waters, and the waters prevailed extremely upon the earth, and all the high hills that were under the whole heaven were covered. 40 cubits upon did the waters prevailed, and the mountains were covered, and all flesh died that moved upon the earth, both of fowls and of the cattle, and of beasts, and of every creeping thing that creepeth up the earth, and every man. All in whose nostril was the breath of life. Of all that was in the dry land died, and every living substance was destroyed, which was upon the face of the ground, both man and cattle, and the creeping things, and the fowl of the heaven, and they were destroyed from the earth. And Noah only remained alive, and they that were with him in the ark, and the waters prevailed upon the earth 150 days. Okay, thank you everyone. See you next time. Goodbye.